everybody. I'm Dr. Mia, and welcome back to the STEMspired podcast, where science meets stories that spark change. And today, we are very honored to sit down with the powerhouse in biomedical science and advocacy, Aida Noor. Ida is not only a trained biomedical scientist, but she's also the visionary founder of Biomedical Sciences and Beyond. And from lab benches to life transitions, Ida has carved a unique space in STEM by embracing a career break in entrepreneurship, which is rarely talked about but deeply important. So, in this episode, she'll open up about what it means to take a pause, but hold on to your scientific identity while coming back stronger, more intentional, and more inspired. So, whether you're a student, a seasoned scientist, or someone who is wondering if there's room in STEM for you, this conversation is just for you. Thank you so much, Ida, for being a part of the STEMspired podcast. I'm so happy to have you here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mia, and I'm really honored to be on your amazing platform. This is our second podcast. Thank you for having me again, and such an amazing introduction. Truly, I'm honored to be part of your amazing platform, and congratulations on the being an amazing addition, Dr. Mia. So I always like I'm
Thank
going to
you.
definitely use Dr. Mia because this blood and sweat needs to be acknowledged. So thank you so much for having me, and I'm looking forward to where our new conversation is going to lead to.
Yes, you guys, this is the online sister I've grown through networking and connecting, and we maintained and, became connected through global opportunities. So, I know some about Ida. We know each other very well. But you guys, haven't had a chance to meet Ida formally. So can you please give a brief introduction of yourself, both personally and professionally?
My name is Aida Noor. I'm a biomedical scientist, or I should say a UK biomedical scientist, and self-published author and content creator in its all of its forms, and they all connected together. I basically shared my journey into self-employment as a biomedical scientist. Like you kindly said, I keep my identity. I'm not pretending to be a vlogger or lifestyle vlogger, and that is it. Just inspiring, basically a scientist exploring the world, a scientist with a vision um, beyond biomedical science.
Yes, a scientist with a vision. That is the biggest thing we need right now is to have a vision. Despite everything we see around us, we should have a vision. So what
Yes.
initially drew you to a career in science, and how did your early education shape your path?
I always loved science. I don't know, it grew with me, but when I look back, because this is how it is. We understand or connect the dots or events as when we look back. I was always a curious person. I was always a why person, which put me in a lot of trouble as a child because it was interpreted as naughtiness, but it wasn't that. It was just curiosity. So I used to ask why. So I did get into a lot of trouble. But daydreaming, so the creative mindset was there, and that's where I just landed on science. I felt it was a passion, and I always wanted to be a scientist. I just, I respect doctors and nurses, but I just didn't see myself there. I wasn't as smart to be into medicine because I'm not an A student. I'm just a BC, and I have to work for my grades. And this is something I would like to highlight. Having the highest grades with minimum effort doesn't mean that you're going to succeed. Because this is something I've learned when I look back is that when you work hard and you always, when you work hard and study hard, you learn that you have to work for things. So yes, this is one of the reasons I didn't want to do medicine, but I always wanted individuality some way or another. I wanted to be my own boss. So science seemed to feed that.
Mhm.
Little that I knew that it's hard work to get
Oh
into
yeah.
science and to maintain science and to try and break boundaries in science, but I always wanted to make a difference one way or another. I didn't want to. I think. Actually, I was reflecting on it this morning. I'm the only scientist in the family, the whole family.
Me
Yeah,
too.
there is doctors, there is nurses, but the only crazy one is a scientist. So I'm proud of it. I'm very proud of it now, looking back after all these years. But we need more scientists, and that's where we need to, like what we're doing now. We're having this conversation. So curiosity, why, creativeness, that's all linked to scientists. And if we look back in history, all the amazing things that were created, they were created because of imagination, because of creativeness. So they are connected. Being a creator and being a scientist, I think they're connected if they're not the same.
They sure are connected, and you constantly show your creativity through your platform by you inform your audience of so many different perspectives and things to think about, including myself. So, how tell us a little bit more about biomedical sciences and beyond, and how have you made an impact using your platform?
I am very honest about this reason. I'm not gonna, this is one thing I'm very passionate about is speaking to people and walking with people. So I'm not gonna sit here and say I wanted to create a company. No, LinkedIn is an amazing credibility platform. And I'm not gonna lie, the reason I went on it out of curiosity. But I didn't go on it until I was qualified by a medical scientist, because I'm sure you're aware and the audience is aware it's like a whole new world. Well, now it's different. I think it's a bit diluted now, or maybe
Yeah, it's
because we're
turned
in
into
it.
Facebook now.
Yeah. But when I first joined, I was like, oh my God, I didn't know any of those titles, and I openly say it. But then I realized, okay, I want to talk about biomedical science and beyond. So purely for credibility, that's why I launched that platform. And it was coinciding with the YouTube channel. And then I relaunched as well, Creating Your Dream Career, which is another one, which is another vision. It's a futuristic platform on the importance of future. There's a difference between a career and a job. So they both kind of linked together. So that's why the name came Biomedical Science and Beyond, because I think with technology and AI is going to lead to interdisciplinary. So what
Mm-hmm.
I this is anything I share, it's personal. It's what through the journey. People normally talk about their journeys when they made it. I thought, why not talk about your journey while you're on the journey? Because you might
Mm-hmm.
help and we inspire each other. So it's not like me sitting there telling you what to do and you passively take it. No, it's an conversation, it's engagement. So like what we've had, it's engagement. We connected, we engaged, and we grew together, and we still the network will expand. So this is the purely for credibility. I launched it on LinkedIn, and because when I first started exploring and I started the newsletter Scientist with a Vision, that was purely just sharing my thoughts. Basically, I used to do that on Instagram because I'm a visual person. I like visuals. If I open a book and there's no pictures, I'm like, that's not a book. It's just my way of understanding and absorbing things. So that's why when I because the LinkedIn newsletter was growing, I thought, okay, let me build something where I can, at the moment, I'm just reposting, I'm not creating because it's extremely difficult when you're
Yeah.
managing your own social media, creating content. I'm being transparent. So purely is for credibility. I thought, okay, let me start it. And they always say start and everything will follow. So the vision is um, think beyond biomedical science or beyond science. Don't just think within what we are told to do. Now you have to think for
Yes.
yourself, share your ideas, and this is how um, this is because there's many things that AI will not replace, like storytelling, like conversation, like intuition, all of this. So we still need that human connection. So share your
Mm-hmm.
vision, and then that's where it starts from. So yeah, in a nutshell.
Absolutely. And that message I gather from that is authenticity leads the way. And it's good to show who you are throughout the process, especially before you make it to that
Yeah,
level you know you're striving for and you get
yeah,
there and people have seen what it took for you to do it and that you're still a person in the process. So Absolutely, I totally agree with what the things you said. I've also been inspired by how you are not afraid to talk about taking a career break, especially because a lot of times it's looked down upon in our
Yeah.
profession. So, can you walk us through your decision to take a career break? What motivated it, and what fears did you have?
I had a different approach towards career break. I had unintentional. So I remember when I first qualified as a biomedical scientist, I because it was a long journey, and plus when I got qualified it was from a hospital that was far, so I was commuting and traveling from London to that destination. So I decided, and I had position ready before I left. I actually left before a position was ready, because I didn't see there was an opportunity that is going to happen, and I thought, even though at that time I was afraid of failure, but that's when I started getting into personal development. And I said, you know what, I'm not going to travel anymore. I'm sure the right position will come. So
Mm-hmm.
for 2 months, I took an unintentional career break. I did, I'm not going to lie, a month and a half, I started to panic like
Yeah.
normal. But then just towards the end of the two, a month and a half, I got a position eventually. But when COVID hit, that's when the big question came, and I thought, where am I exactly? Am I happy? And then I realized there's a difference between having a career and a job. And that's when the second book, Creating Your Dream Career, came, because I was
Mm-hmm.
sharing my journey. And then I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go and explore the world outside the laboratory, because I had a vision at that time, that as a biomedical scientist or as a scientist, you have a role in society, not just in the lab, not just in healthcare. There must be something out there. And that's when I made my resignation, which was a shock to everybody. And I share that on all my social media and my YouTube on how it happened, and so on. And simply I said, I need to sort my life out. And that's the first career break. Yeah, I had several now. But being
I'm on mine right
that,
now.
and then I realized, okay, I'm going to take a career break, explore the world. And
Mhm.
that's where the networking came. That's when the newsletter of Scientists with a Vision came. That's when I started, networking in Dubai, for example.
Mm.
It was just after COVID. It just happened that I was there at the right time, the right place. And I was very lucky. That's how it helped my networking. And obviously back in London and so on. But then I saw the benefits of a career break. Yes, there's a stigma about career
Mhm.
breaks, but then there were benefits. The most fear that most people fear is the financial impact that it will have, and I agree. But the
Yes.
advantage of that, you learn how to manage money. You learn, you get into that survival mode. You develop skills on how to manage your money.
Mhm.
And this is the benefit, because you don't have a check waiting, so you save up before, and then you're very wary about your spending. So that's the first thing I want to make clear. um your mental health as well. You start exploring because you're out of that race. There's
Yes.
many benefits to that. And family time, you ask yourself those questions because you've got that headspace to do that. And obviously I had personal reasons as well. That's then the self-employment came. Then I thought, okay, I can go back to work because I've compiled enough years of experience, and obviously the long journey has benefited me. And for the past, this is my fourth year of self-employment, and I have taken almost every year a career break, short and couple of months. And it gets better. The fear is always there because you plan ahead, but it gets better because you already know how to systemize it. However, every career break is different from the other one, which is a surprise. So you will have doubting moments. I do. I'm a human being. I'm not always fully inspired. But this time, this career break has been another level for me because I've leveled up in other things. So it's progressive. And to make a decision to say, okay, now I'm going to return to work because of ABC. So it involves a lot of self-learning and learning about your environment, learning about, and very important to have your supporting circle. And
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, there's another thing about a career break. You talk more because you have that time. So you have time to explore, you have time to expand your
Yes.
network.
Yep.
Even with family, you start, some family members you never knew their backstory. For example, I've got few family members who had businesses. So you start doing research. When I reflect back, I said, I've done a lot of research. It's not on paper, it's not documented, but that's how you enrich your knowledge, you enrich your soul, if I
Mm-hmm.
may say.
Mm-hmm.
Even the vlogs that I share, I'm not sharing vlogs like, there is a backstory behind every vlog. So even though I'm taking you to a new place, obviously budget friendly, but hidden gems, whether in London or in the UAE or in Qatar or in Saudi Arabia, all these places that I've traveled to, I show you the hidden gems. And obviously, because you know how to manage money, believe me, you will learn. And when you run out of money, you go back to work.
I used to love seeing your Dubai trips. I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm in Dubai. So I
Yeah.
really enjoy, and like you said, oh man, from this career break I've had so much clarity to really learn more about myself.
Mm,
Business, if you want, you really can hone in on your business when you take a
yeah.
career break. So after I graduated, I'm not working for a couple months. So for me, I'll be starting teaching part-time in next week, but it's not full time. I can still focus on businesses and pay my
Mm,
bills. So, it's all about what works for you. What do you plan to gain out of the
yeah.
career break? Do you want
It's
to
about
explore?
balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like if you're a business person, you're building a business, do you want to explore opportunities that can put you
Mm,
further while you're taking a break and your focus is on scaling your business? So
yes.
those are things I've learned during my career break, and it's given me so much clarity and
Mm,
determination to know gonna do this thing, and I'm determined, like you said, to play the long game, because being a business owner is not easy. Being self-employed
no.
is not easy, but it puts pressure on you to keep
Yeah.
going and to not sit and be complacent, because when you work a job, it's very easy to just sit and be complacent and take whatever someone offers you when you can really go seek
Absolutely.
those opportunities for yourself. So,
Absolutely. I so agree with you because you do think about it. You become in a survival mode.
mm-hmm,
And even if there's several times when I return to work, um, it's part of you. Your business or whatever, in my case, is creating content, or it's growing. It's growing while
mm-hmm,
you're at work. So it and also I would like to add, you'll have time to learn. You'll have to learn other things. Creating media wasn't immediate. I had to learn how to I was on all these learning courses and things like that, how to create media. Some things you
mm-hmm,
have to learn by doing, like creating videos and things like that. You learn by doing, but how to get to that, and continue learning. Like editing videos is the hardest part, but that's the polish to your video at the end of it. But the whole process from the idea all the way to the promotion, so it's more than just documenting, and it grows with you because it's evergreen as well. And it's like having a real estate on the creators economy. So I had to learn all of these terms. I never knew they existed. Creators economy, great resignation. I didn't know I was part of the great resignation, and all the future of work and things like that. How would you explore all these things if you're still in full-time work? It's extremely difficult to do that.
mm-hmm,
So that's
mm-hmm,
why career break doesn't have to be a very long career break. Even taking a month or two makes a huge difference. The last time I was working, I took a whole month off, and that made a huge difference. So you can do these things. It doesn't have to be big, but I did do a lot of research about sabbatical breaks and all of that. Apparently employers do offer sabbatical breaks and all of that. Oh, you can go
mm-hmm,
for, like when I took that month off, it was unpaid month, so that was a sabbatical month. So
mm-hmm,
obviously you do your research. So I saw other members who take a month off and so on. So it, a week or two is never enough. So
mm-mm.
if somebody's watching this and say, look, I've got financial commitments, which is totally understandable, we all have to pay bills, that's normal,
Ooh,
then
the bills don't
maybe
stop.
No, they'll keep coming. There was someone I used to work with. She said they actually come even more, as if like they know. I'll never
Yes.
forget that comment. Yeah. She was self-employed, but now she's went back to full employment for, progression. So, yeah, maybe try 1 month at least. But it does require planning because the first
Mm-mm.
week or two you'll be sitting in a state of shock because you'll be asking yourself those. For me, every time when I stop work or even I take a month off or whatever, it will take up to 2 weeks because you are slowing down. So, maybe
I
that's
took a
just a
nap.
suggestion. Yeah. The napping, oh my God, the first 2 weeks, as if like a
Took a
dead
nap.
man walking.
I said, I'm going into hibernation. Can hit me back in 2 weeks.
Oh,
So
just
I've
roll me
seen,
over to check if I'm alive.
I know, right? Oh, goodness. I was going to say, I have been watching and being a part of your journey since I was in graduate school. So I have learned a lot from you, especially without being unsure at certain points in my journey. Like, am I cut out for this? So I want to ask you, what would you say to a young person who feels unsure about their place in STEM in biomedical sciences?
First thing I would say, which I wish I would have told myself, my younger self, is don't be afraid of failure. There's no
Mm,
right or wrong. You are learning, you are exploring. Um, don't be afraid to explore because that's the main fear. Everybody's afraid of being judged, which is understandable. When we're young, we try to impress, we try to fit in. So we all fell into that trap. I fell into that trap myself, but I
mm-hmm,
was always afraid of failure. We were always. I was in an environment, or maybe that existed already. But we always, what did you get? What's your grade? It's like the one who gets the highest grade. It's like they won a trophy, and maybe we blame the system as well, because if you don't get the best grades, you don't get acknowledged. But at
mm-hmm,
this day and age, when you look at it, it's by who you know. This is something has always been there. It's by who you know and how you communicate and engage with people. This is how
mm-hmm,
opportunities come, because you speak to people. And this is one of the observations that I've had, that's people who network and not necessarily in business, but people who speak to different random people and they're always there. That's how they learn. That's because I might have a conversation with you and then you said, oh,
mm-hmm,
so I know so and so, and an opportunity will come, or not
mm-hmm,
necessarily business wise, but this person might be your best friend who will be advising you on, or an acquaintance. So you really need to have an open eyes and ears and be fearless and just say, I'm here to learn, I'm here to explore. There's no right or wrong. If people judge you, that's their perspective. You can't change that. Like for
mm-hmm,
example, when someone looks at you, God gave us eyes to explore. So if somebody looks at you, not necessarily they are judging you. It's just they're exploring because they've got eyes. We've got two eyes, by the way. So this is what I told myself when I first started networking, because I started networking and I was jobless, and I'll never forget that comment, and I'm going to say it because I said it on my channel, so it's out there. When I connected with people on LinkedIn, I went on networking, and I introduced myself to one of the thought leaders or whatever who's in a senior position, and I introduced myself, and I was being unapologetic. I said, yeah, I'm not working now, I'm here to explore and all of that. And I'll never forget that word. Someone came up and said, oh, who's Ida, so and so. And then this particular person who I introduced myself to, she said, yeah, Ida, this is Ida, she's jobless. And I was like, that's so what? But this was an older person. So I'll never forget. It was one of
yeah,
the things that hit me, because you're still vulnerable. I was very vulnerable at that time because I'm doubting myself. I
yes,
left a full-time job, and it was a comfortable job. It was in central London. It was in a private lab. I knew the company already, and it wasn't far from where I live, in a beautiful
mm-hmm,
location, and money-wise was good as well. So everything was made, and I left that comfortable position. So you went internationally to explore. Think of how vulnerable you will be. I thought to myself, you know what, I don't care. And that time I launched my newsletter of Scientist with a Vision, which is now has grown. So the message I want to tell any younger person out there: don't be afraid to be yourself. Don't copy anyone else. if you have a vision, nobody's going to see it. That's the whole point of envisioning. I remember there
Mm-hmm.
was an article, is one of the highest articles, that's one of the few ones that I've written on Medium. Just I just wanted to write about envisioning. When you see something that nobody can see, and I googled the word envision means that you see things that other people don't see. So that's
Mm-hmm.
what it is. So, and don't be apologetic. Yeah, I do feel weird when family members see my videos and things like that. But so what? You will inspire somebody who needs it. The comments
Mm-hmm.
that you get from somebody who say, "Oh, I found a job. Oh, thank you. I needed this today." Oh, that's so worthwhile. This is what we need to build that community in the STEM world. Community. It's not competition, it's collaboration. So don't be
Mm-hmm.
afraid to explore, learn, and be unapologetic, because that's how you learn. Nobody is born with knowledge. This is one of my seniors said that word, and I'll never ever forget, because I was really panicky when I started in a private lab, and I was very vulnerable. And he always used to
Mm-hmm.
say, nobody is born with knowledge. So when I get panicky, because I'm human being, when I keep exploring,
Mm-hmm.
nobody's born with knowledge. Nobody starts from the top. We all start from the bottom. And always remember, anything new you learn, you'll master it with practice. This is something I've
Mm-hmm.
learned as well. Practice makes perfect. So that's another article that's a lot of people viewed. So, yes, have a vision, believe in it, learn something new while you're exploring, and keep practicing it, and then you'll master it. It's not an overnight process, it takes time.
Yes, it does. And the heaviest thing is building relationships. I think that's what goes under the radar. Sometimes people might psych themselves out. Like for me, I know right now I'm in the process of having to reach out to like big companies and figure out, do some market research. And I'm just felt like I'm just stuck in my head. I have to just step out and get out there. So even if it's not on that big grand scale as what I'm talking about, but
Mm,
being able to, even if it's another fellow student or somebody else that's on the same level as you currently are, it's still good to make
mm,
connections. And like you said, some people, what's the worst somebody can say is no. I mean, if they say no, I'm just gonna go about my day and say, oh, okay, but that you people have to know one rejection does not mean that affects your entire trajectory. There's somebody out there who believes in what you're doing, who believes in what you have to say, who values you.
yeah.
A lot of times people are trying to people please instead of being
Mm,
themselves. And right now, we're in the day and age where being authentic is the best way to go.
yeah.
It doesn't matter if you get 2 likes. It doesn't matter if you get 1,000 likes. You know, it's all about being you. Somebody out there is going to see it.
Absolutely, I totally agree. In a world that's dominated with virality, but people who want the knowledge, sometimes I do have that fear when I'm posting a video and I'm thinking, would I get the right reaction? But at the end of the day, you are creating content, meaningful content, and it will take time, because what's the saying? If it goes fast, what goes up must go down. If it goes fast up, I'm not sure if that's saying. So that's the same thing. So absolutely, being authentic is the best way, 100%. And rejection does not define you. Actually, it does make you strong. I still don't like rejections. I'm not gonna lie. But
No, who
when
does?
I get rejection, I'm like, okay, move on.
Yeah. And it's completely normal to feel some type of way after being rejected, but the biggest thing is don't let fear hold you back. Oh my goodness, fear can be your worst culprit sometimes. And even if it doesn't feel, if you feel uncomfortable, it's okay. You're doing something right. If you're striving for a goal and you feel uncomfortable, you're doing something right by going out there and
Yeah.
connecting with people. It may not feel right, but it's the right thing to do to help advance yourself further.
Absolutely. And you know what? How to overcome this is by showcasing yourself. When you have heavy visibility, that will give you that future proofing your role, because you're not waiting. And this is something that hit me. It's quite recent and very raw. Somebody who was trying to get speaking engagements, and I said, why don't you share content? You don't share much content. So that's when it hit me, because this person gets paid really well for speaking. So that shows you share content, because that way you're growing, in a way you're playing basically the long game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And for me, what made me step out and say, I think I'm ready to change the game, because I remember going through my graduate school journey, or trying to get into a PhD program, how it felt like a somewhat isolating experience,
Mm,
because I really was just trying to figure out what to do in how to convey what I've done in a way to ensure that I can secure my spot. So that was
mm.
a completely new territory for me. And that made me say, okay, let me serve as that mentor for people, for students who felt like they needed it and they don't know how to interview, they don't know what to do for their personal statement or CV. So I am proud to say that I stepped out on something that, my husband and I, we started this business, but at first it was like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh man, let's just do it. Let's just do it and see, like, what's the worst that can happen? What, people don't engage? So it all started with doing webinars and so doing those bi-weekly, and we just continue to attract more students and more people, even professors who were interested in what we're doing. So don't stop, even if it starts out kind of rocky and a lot of people aren't vibing with it. It's okay.
It's okay.
People are gonna start flowing in, and people will reach out. You just have to give it time and continue
Yeah.
being yourself through the process.
It's all about quality, not quantity. Absolutely.
Quality, not quantity. So you dropped some wonderful gems today, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers have benefited so much from hearing about your journey and facing their fears, whether they want to take a career break and redefine themselves. So I'm connected with you, and you are everywhere on social media. So how can our scholars connect with you and keep being updated about your journey?
All over, like you said, social media. I used YouTube as like my mass mentoring, a global mass mentoring, and sharing the journey as it is. If you simply Google my name, you'll find me everywhere. So you choose the platform that suits you. Now I just just type my name in Google and find everything that you need and click away. But mainly the YouTube, the reason I launched it is because I wanted like a mass global mentoring, and I use it like a journal now. Everything is
Mhm.
there. As simple as that, because I feel LinkedIn is becoming like Facebook now. So
Oh, yes, me too. But despite all that, y'all subscribe to Ida's newsletter. It's powerful. It's on LinkedIn. So get on LinkedIn. If you're not on there, you're late, because everybody's on there since Facebook thing. If you're a
yeah.
TikTok person, Ida's on TikTok, wherever, like you said, Google her, she's everywhere.
And
So
well done on all your amazing work. I find it very, very inspiring. You are impacting the lives of you know anybody who wants to dream truly. I'm so happy, and I'm really excited about what you're going to share about your journey and on how far you've gone. Now you've finished the bulkiest part of your, and I really wish you all the success with your business. Absolutely. I think it's going to be one of the reasons I come to the States. I've never been to the
cool.
States yet.
Well, I'm here. I'm in a city where there's a major airport, so don't worry.
Good.
I'm here. But I appreciate your support throughout this journey, and it's really helped keep me going. It's
You too.
always
We
great.
support each other. It's not a one way. We support each other. And thank you for being inspirational, and having me as well, and supporting me, my online sister.
Yes, online sister. And with that, you guys, Ida just gave us a master class in grace, grit, and growth. Her journey reminds us that STEM and biomedical science isn't a straight line, and it doesn't have to be. Whether you're navigating transitions, questioning your path, or seeking impact beyond the lab, Ida's story shows there's room for reinvention and resilience, as well as redefining your story. Be sure to follow her on LinkedIn, all those social media platforms, and connect with Biomedical Sciences and Beyond for empowering content as well as community. Thank you, Ida, for bringing your full self to this conversation. And to our listeners, remember, your STEM story matters and is still being written. Until next time, stay curious, stay courageous, and stay inspired.